Hi all, Rick here, looking into another Trek Starship, with this one being another addition to the Borg's geometric arsenal. The Queen ship, the Borg Diamond, the Octahedron, the pointy one. It was first witnessed in Star Trek Voyager's Dark Frontier as a flagship of sorts for the Collective. The very notion of a flagship among the hive mind of the Borg does seem to be a little irrelevant, but of course the existence of the Queen is something of a contradiction among the Collective. I did a video exploring the origins and function of the Queen separately if you want more on that topic. The real design came from Dan Curry and Brandon McDougall, as the script called for a distinct geometric shape but unlike any witnessed before from the Borg, steering away from the prior unique vessel of the time, the Type 3 seen in Star Trek The Next Generation. A diamond shape was chosen. With this switch over to CGI models, it also meant that the ship could be animated more intricately, which was done to have the different layers rotate, making it more dynamic than earlier designs. I also found nothing corroborating this, but the silhouette of a diamond also feels more regal. So, the vessel itself is similar to the many of the other Borg ships you would expect, but with a few notable exceptions. Its primary function is to act as a facilitator for the Queen's command of the Collective. It does this through numerous subspace links and literally being a transport. There does not appear to be as much internal volume as first appearance would suggest. The cubes and spheres that make the backbone of Borg starships have both cavernous interiors which can function to store a captive vessel while they assimilate and dissect it. The structure of a Queen ship suggests that this vessel is not capable of this, therefore it was not built to assimilate ships, or at least not on the scale of the cube or even a sphere. However, it did feature expansive assimilation chambers for organic life. While many ships housed a Queen cell, the Diamond retains a more dedicated chamber, as this was more often used as a platform to escort the Queen. It resided in the stationary centre of the structure, which itself was suspended in a lattice-like energy grid. After the acquisition of the spatial trajector, however, it became possible for the Queen to travel to and from any ship with the device installed, without ever having to be ferried around. Honestly, it may have been one of the last things the Collective managed to get their hands on before they were disabled by the Janeway pathogen. The ship was designed to be able to integrate into a unicomplex when docked, to expand its systems and the ease of reach for the Queen. Additionally, if the Queen was completely destroyed in body, her mind could be uploaded to a nearby octahedron and act for a time there as the operating system, essentially making the ship her temporary new form, while a new member of Species 125 was prepared to act as the new Queen. There is some lore to suggest that these were not a unique vessel as first appeared. Armada shows us several being used as science vessels of a sort, or at least doing as much science as the Collective does. Namely observation, surveying and listening more so than experimentation. Although, there has to be some part of the Collective devoted to integrating the disparate technology that they assimilated. After all, not everything they get a hold of is going to be perfectly compatible with their current systems. Such research and adaptation could have been the purview of these ships on some level, but that is speculation. What is known is that part of the reason Starfleet was so invested in reverse engineering Borg tech was because it was so integratable, and the Borg had done a lot of the legwork in making different advanced sciences work together seamlessly. So if Starfleet could get their hands on such a ship or location of Borg development, then it would be a major shortcut and treasure trove of information. In terms of armaments, the Queen ship was, well, a Borg ship, so had pretty much anything it needed. It could form new weapon placements and devices across its hull as required, but tended to begin with plasma-based weapons. This included both plasma torpedoes and infused disruptors, but it could fire any needed weapons type. They housed the infamous cutting beams, tractor beams, and a ultrium burst, an explosive particle. Isometric weapons and a wide variety of energy scrambling effects rounded out its tactical loadout. However, it could also use the variety of subspace equipment and Borg know-how to generate numerous anomalies or other effects, from dampening fields to spatial rifts. Subspace weapons ban be damned, they are Borg. In terms of protection, it used the same adaptive and regenerative shielding with a subspace layer that all Borg ships used, and contained the same level of self-regeneration as a cube. Its outer hull was layered with ablative armour. In fact, the only limiting factor was its size. Far more powerful than a sphere, but not quite as much as a cube. It was less likely to risk confrontation, preferring to hang back, allowing the Queen to observe and direct. The only times this ship was ever really deployed was when the Queen herself was taking to the field, usually out of interest in an assimilation target, such as a particularly notable acquisition. It could use both regular warp travel and the transwarp network of the Borg, featuring multiple transwarp emitters around the hull. So, overall, the Queen acted as a facilitator, processor and director for the collective, and for most of her existence, she spent her time disseminated in the hive mind of the Borg from her body, which was plugged into the core chamber of one of these diamonds. The diamond ship spent most of its time locked in the core of a unicomplex, but would disengage when she needed to relocate or oversee something in person. The fact that she took a regular Borg cube to the Battle of Sector 001, however, would suggest that the diamond was inferior in power to a standard cube, but more specialised in facilitating her management of the hive mind. Otherwise, why would they use it? It looks like the loss of the only diamond ship we see was no great blow to the collective, as they were already adapting how the Queen could travel with the addition of the Sicarian trajector, but it looks like Janeway happened before it could properly be implemented. As cool as it is, this may have been the last time we see the diamond, at least in its function as a Queen ship, but not the only unique Borg vessel we have. So until the next video, thanks for watching this breakdown of the Pointy ship. I've been Rick, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.